All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Shalom, salutations to the hopeful elect that's fighting a good fight of faith and truth, in sincerity and wholeheartedly, Shalom to the Akwath, which is the women believers, Shalom to you. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai.
Get this straight. So most people are living paycheck to paycheck. Half of us have no savings at all, and only 20% of us can afford housing. But if we can't pay for rent, we can't go to the homeless shelters because they're all overcrowded. And in every single state besides two, being homeless and not in a shelter is illegal. And if you go to jail, you're going to be doing free forced labor. How?
Look at Esau to the left, right? So the reason why I'm doing this video is because, it's so many things that can cause a sedition. And the prophet's been warning people for years that these Edomites is going to rise up because they feel like their precious country is being taken from them. Now, we understand that this country don't belong to them. They stole it from our ancestors. All right. But it is what it is. So this is their country. They stole it. They dominated it. And they've been living deliciously off of it just for, being an Edomite. Now, even though the Edomites, the self-proclaimed white people, the wicked that the Bible speak of, they've been calling themselves white since 1681. And at one point in time, it was the rich, the slave owners, the poor whites, and of course the slaves, which was the Israelites. And at one point in time, the poor whites, and the slaves, they used to come together and be like, wait a minute, this is some bullshit. So what the powers did was gave them a status. That's why you have these Edomites well, at least I'm not black, I'm white, because at one point in time, they realized that the poor was coming against the rich. So what they did, they made the poor white people cops, the slave patrols, all right, which is the modern day cops. But you got to understand that Esau, Edom, gonna rise up. It's scripture. And I'm gonna get the scripture too. And this can definitely cause a sedition because you have a lot of Edomites that's actually, talking about taking their country back. What way you think they're going to do that? They're going to have to use violence. They're going to have to rise up.
How are we okay with the world where 1% of all people own everything? They own the places we shop at, they own the businesses we work at, and they own the buildings that we live at.
And, this information is nothing deep. If anybody with a working brain understand that, you've been hearing the term for a long time. Even before I was in the truth, I heard the term, the 1%. Yeah, the 1% own everything. And America is just a corporation that they rule out of. America been bought and paid for since the Great Depression. So when the Americans lost everything, they bought up everything in America in 1927. The rich banking families. So from that point on, America been, bought and paid for. And then a few years later after that, social security numbers and birth certificates came on the scene. So you just through. See, for the Israelites, this is why we try to tell you this is not your rest. You are still in captivity and you would never, ever get ahead because in the curses, it said that he would be the head and you would be the tail. So even if you want to have any type of success in this society, guess what? You're going to have to do things that you don't like. And guess what? Our people do the things that they don't like and then they get comfortable with it because they say this, well, at least I got money, at least I'm rich, But it's all to your detriment. But let's continue to hear these Edomites complain.
We compete against each other to get access to employment from them so that they can give us a paycheck to buy the things we just produced for them.
And another thing too, you know, this is the devil that we're talking about. He oppresses own people. You know, when I first came out to the highways and byways, a saying that I used to say all the time, this is before I had a camera, because before I had a camera, I was out there preaching a year before I even got a camera. So I used to have a lot of interactions, and I used to tell the Edomites, I said, it's so funny that you're so mad at Israelites who don't have control over gas prices, rent prices, job hirings, you know, the things that you actually need in life. Your own government fucked you over. See, when King Solomon had the kingdom for 40 years, Queen Sheba thought that the cupbearer was King Solomon. That's how decked out our people was. So I was telling these Edomites that this is a damn shame. This is your country, right? But every time I come downtown to preach, I see more Edomites poor asking me for money. And that's a damn shame that you got servants doing better than your own people. Because remember, we came over here as slaves, and you have Jake that's doing better than Edomites in your own damn kingdom. So yeah, this is the devil. He don't care. He only care about his bottom line. He only care about his household and his family and the way that they keep their riches, which is very smart, but it's also nasty. All right. But they keep their riches by incest. So you have, you know, brothers sleeping with aunts and I mean, not brothers sleeping with aunts, but you have, you know, men sleeping with their aunts. It didn't even get more nastier. You know, moms sleeping with sons and cousins sleeping with, you know, it's just called incest. OK, don't want to get into the particulars, but in Leviticus 18, we have laws on sleeping with close relatives and how you would be cast out from your people. But that's what they do. But so they keep the riches in the family. But yeah, so this is the devil for you. This is the devil for you. He oppresses everybody, but nobody gets it worse than the Israelites.
The things that we need to live. And then even after all that, they make everything more expensive so that they can take even more from us. And we can't stop it because there's no place else that we can go to buy our food or live.
So let me get this real quick. So yeah, man, I mean, so many things that could cause a sedition, but there's definitely another one. I made plenty of videos about sedition, about the possibilities of which way a sedition can happen. Because, you know, especially if a famine come, that could cause a sedition. If EMP come, that definitely could cause a sedition. You know, your money, your banking just stopped working. The currency is a no currency no more. That could cause a sedition. So it says, woe unto the world of them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. One people should stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. The modern day sword is guns. Esau loved his guns. Why? Because he's an Edomite and his blessing is a sword. Our forefather Isaac blessed him with that. And that's how he got dominion over the world. And it said, for there should be sedition. A sedition is what you would call a revolution. An inciting speech to cause the overthrowing of a government. And guess what? The people have the right, because they're going to realize, like, this is some bull crap. All right. This is some bull crap. I'm tired. The government been oppressing me for too long. This is what the Edomites is going to come to. All right. Because Jake got no fighting spirit. You are through. So for there should be sedition among men and invading one another. They should not regard their kings or princes. So the government, the mayors, police officials, ain't nobody going to regard you in that time. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So you're not even going to have control in that day. It's going to get out of control. All right. Let's go back.
And we can't get the government to do anything because everyone in the government was effectively handpicked by those very same people that own everything.
And the one on the left, he looked like he ready to go shoot some shit up right now.
And it is in the interest of the people making the laws to make laws that are good for the owners, because if they don't, they won't get reelected.
And that's why Mayor Amschel Rothschild, which originally they were called Bowers, which means peasants, because that's what they are. But he said if you own a nation's currency, he cared not who makes the laws, because guess what? All the people who make the laws, all the people who are the top officials in the government, they're bought and paid for. Money rules the world. He controls the money. He can print how much money he wants and buy anybody that he wants. Because if you're not a man or a woman of the Lord, you have a price. And that's why you see the celebrities of our people selling out and doing all kind of abominations just to get $1.
Is this really the world y'all want?
Yep.
Let me get this straight. So
and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians now. In Revelation 11:8, it said that the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. So the Egyptians versus the Egyptians is Americans versus Americans. And particularly the Edomites versus the Edomites. But it's not just going to be that. It's going to be everybody. Everybody's hand is going to be towards their brother. Why? Because of great tribulation and lack of bread. In that time, there's not going to be friends. As the scripture says, friends shall fight each other like enemies. There ain't going to be no friends in that day. It's going to be chaos, confusion, perplexity, and all of that. You ain't going to know which way to turn, but to turn to violence, because you feel that would be the best outcome, because everybody else is going to be robbing and killing each other over lack of bread. So it says, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. So outside of World War III, which we understand that's the war to end all wars, and America is going to be bombed at the end of it, America is going to lose World War III, period, even over there in the Middle East. The cherry on top is America being destroyed by nuclear missile fire. But before all of that, America is going to be out of hand, out of their control. All right? So, because I'm going to end it on this. It said, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he should be in straits. So when he think that he about to get his new world order, he's going to be in a position of difficulty. Why? Every hand of the wicked shall be upon him. When you go into that word wicked in the Hebrew, is Imal, and it's the laborers. The laborers is the people. Now, guess what? He got to worry about the nations over there in the Middle East, and he got to worry about his own people in his land. So every hand of the wicked, which is the laborers, is going to come upon him. So we're coming into a day where everybody's hand is going to be towards everybody. And the government officials, which you already know, they're going to be underground, in the caves of the rocks, as the scripture says. But just know that the system that they imagine is not going to come to pass. Because number one, it's not scripture. The next kingdom to come is our kingdom. So these are the things that we report on to try to get you to be prepared mentally. As it says in 2 Ezra 14:13, it says, set your house in order, which is yourself. All right. And flee from mortal thoughts, which is the cares of this life. Each day that you wake up, you're getting closer and closer to the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And if the Lord ain't dealing with you and you ain't on the Lord's side and believing in the Lord, you're going to get smoked like a brisket. Okay. And that's just facts. So, yeah, as this devil going to continue to oppress and continue to oppress and continue to oppress, guess what's going to happen? People are going to get upset and take matters into their own hands. We just read it in scripture. So all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, and Shalom.